3 of the World Motocross Championship. It's moments away from getting underway here in Brazil. Noticeable absentee. Jeffrey Hurlings, however, is back home in Europe. The MX2 team manager, Stefan Everts, joins me now. Jeffrey, it's been a bit of a rocky start to the year for him. Is it a case of bad luck?
Well, we know what happened last weekend in Holland, and I think it was also part of his own mistake to try and jump a triple or quad, but it looks like he's doing really well, he's improving a lot, and for the next GP we'll be back in 100%.
Fingers crossed. And also let's talk about Geordie, because he finished second in the World Championship last year. However, were we perhaps expecting a bit more from him in the early start of this season?
Yeah, I mean, his first 2 GPs were not the best, and last year he had the same problem. To take off, everyone is a bit nervous, a bit stressed. Once you got 2-3 GPs under the belt, everyone starts to relax, and hopefully with Geordie slowly he's coming back in his rhythm what he needs to be, and he can do better than what he did in the first 2 GPs, that's for sure, and he needs to be back on the podium. That's where he can be, but competition is tough out there, everyone wants it, and it's not easy.
Thanks, Stefan. Right, it's time to see the MX2 qualifying race.
Dylan Ferrandis was fastest, and Geiser was second. Tomkov and Tonus less than a second separating the first 4, with Max Anstey on the Yamaha 5th. Lupino was 6th ahead of Petrov, Guillot, Dupre and Koldenhoff. That's how they finished in the time training session. A glorious day here in Brazil for the qualifying race. Around about 28 degrees outside, and a little bit of water's gone down on the track as well before the start of this race, so going to be a little bit tricky for the guys. The gate drops, and down the inside, Max Anstey just getting his nose cut off as the yellow of Glenn Koldenhoff sitting down in about 4th or 5th position there on the right hand side, as Boutron on the Silver Action KTM picked up the whole shot, and it was he who led the way in the opening laps ahead of the 59 Alexander Tonkov and the 259 the Rockstar Energy Suzuki of Glenn Koldenhoff. And you can see he was trying to apply the pressure in the early stages of the race as Jose Boutron looked to make a break for it. And don't forget, this is where Boutron picked up his first ever podium and a race win last year, of course. Max Anstey was on the charge, finding a way past the 243 of Tim Geiser on the factory HRC Honda, the Garibaldi machine. And then he tried to go after the guys ahead of him as well, soon got himself up into 3rd place. Boutron continued to lead though, but around about lap 3, lap 4, you could see the 259 of Glenn Koldenhoff of the Netherlands closing in on the Spaniard, Jose Boutron. Bided his time, tried to make a move on several occasions, and it came right at the bottom of the hill before they disappeared out of sight. It was an easy pass in the end for Glenn Koldenhoff, as Boutron then dropped to 2nd, and Anstey was not far behind. He was in 4th behind the number 59 of Alexander Tonkov. Tried to get at the inside of the Russian. The two almost collided at the top of the hill, and Ferrandis was keeping a watching brief as well on the 122 machine. The CLS Monster Energy Kawasaki rider found a way past Max Anstey, and that put him up into 4th place on lap 4. It was going to be a tough race for Dylan Ferrandis on the 122, maybe just trying a little bit hard. Let's not forget, no Jeffrey Hurlings, so these guys really trying to lay down a marker in the qualifying race on Saturday. Just behind those guys have started to drop back a little bit on the 243. Tonus, though, was making a charge through the field. Started down in 8th and was working his way towards the top 6. But as Koldenhoff was disappearing at the front, Boutron on the number 17 was coming under pressure from the 99 Bike at Cosworth Yamaha of Max Anstey. Dylan Ferrandis, though, as we said earlier, was having a tough time. He made a mistake, dropped a couple of positions, and was coming into the clutches of the 461 of Roman Fevre on the Wilbona Star and Husqvarna, who was putting in a spirited ride as well. Started in 9th and was looking to try and work his way up inside the top 5 as well before the end of the race. So too was Tonus, number 200. First of all, catching the 59 of Alexander Tonkov. That putting him into 5th position, looking after 4th. Eventually found his way into 4th place. And then went after Boutron. Boutron just having a few problems in the closing stages of the race. Made no effort to hold off Tonus or Tonkov. But up front, though, it's all about this guy, 259, Glenn Koldenhoff. He led from the 3rd lap And the 11-lap qualifying race belonged to Glenn Koldenoff. He was a winner here ahead of Anstey, Tonus, Tomkoff and Febvre.
Glenn, well done in the qualifying race. You created a really comfortable lead. Was that points lead on the back of your mind?
No, actually not. You know, I take it from race to race, and I got, I think, a 5th start, and I pushed really hard in the beginning, and I pass Tomkoff and Butteron, and I go to the lead, and I pull a little bit away. But after I make the decision to slow down a bit, you know, with this heat here, and take some energy for tomorrow for the race. So
Well, you go and cool off, and we'll see you tomorrow for race day.